We're in Chicagoland, so I thought it would be kind of cool to have our panels represent different areas of volunteering in Chicagoland, or in Karen's case, a little outside Chicagoland. So I'm going to ask each of you just to introduce yourself and say a little bit about your loved one. Karen, you can go first. Is it on? Yeah.
Okay. My name is Karen Adams. I am the creator and main admin for the CJD Family Facebook page. I have two other admins who help me with that page. Lori definitely helps keep me on track as well. I do want to start out with a big thank you to the CJD Foundation, the board of directors, the medical professionals, scientists, researchers, and pharmaceuticals. In May of 2010, my mom started showing signs of aging. Obviously, that's nothing to be surprised about. A conversation I had last night with some table mates, that gait and posture became a big issue, nothing unexpected. When my mom sought help, many medical professionals said, go see this doctor, go see that doctor. It was very much like watching an episode of House. If you remember that show, you're living it in real time. When the probable diagnosis of CJD came through, we went to the CJD Foundation website, read it top to bottom, watched videos we wish we hadn't. We had reached out to my mom's local funeral home. We gave them a check. They agreed to do their services for my mom. The day before she died, they called us and said that because of what she's dying of, they can't do their services for us. My sisters reached out to the CJD Foundation. I don't know the who's and the whats, but they took the reins for us. My mom's body was removed, was taken, samples taken, cremation took place. We literally had to do nothing, and that was such a huge, huge relief for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And next, Elizabeth, if you could say who you are and who your loved one is.
My name is Elizabeth Rodriguez, and I am captain for Chicago Strides. I lost my uncle Jorge in 2017. At 62, we thankfully had a neurologist who knew about prion disease. We went to see her a week before Thanksgiving, and on a Friday, on Saturday, she was doing spinal tap, and December 6th, she confirmed that he had a prion disease. She gave us the foundation's information. They were great. We were able to donate his brain. We lost him January 13th. We weren't prepared for it to be that quick. The neurologist did tell us, I would say about 3 months. So a month later, I wasn't prepared for that. But it did give me an opportunity to care for him and be by his side the whole time.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Tim?
My name is Tim Schwister. I lost my wife 9 years ago, almost to the week. She was 53 years old. And, our story began, really fast, and it went through really quick. I know some of you in this room have probably heard my story several times. I do the monthly caregiver support group call, but the journey on our end was very fast. It actually only lasted 7 weeks. So from the time to go into the hospital, within 2 weeks, she was no longer able to speak or walk. We had some great conversations before she wasn't able to speak anymore, but some of the things that came about with this whole process was she did do the RT quick test back in 2016, which was very new to this whole process. So that kind of helped us along the way to once we got the diagnosis on where we were at. So like I said, 7 weeks long and 53 years old.
Thanks, Tim. And last but definitely not least, Pat.
Hi, my name's Pat Elliot. I come from a genetic CJD family. It's hard for me to say that because CJD has been part of my life for over 50 years. I've watched 2 generations of my family pass from CJD. And when I was a teen and in my 20s, in the 70s and 80s, there was nothing. We had such an overwhelming feeling of helplessness. And the disease progressed so rapidly, and it was always misdiagnosed. So in 2000, when my father showed symptoms, neurological degeneration, and he lived in a rural community, we were starting down that path again of, well, it's a stroke, and let's go get physical therapy. But my family and I knew it wasn't a stroke. We were watching this all over again. It was 5 months from the symptom to death. I am so grateful that the CJD community was here for us in the year 2000 because there was no diagnostic test at that time. And grateful for the support that we found. It was interesting in Dr. Telling's keynote that Clarence Gibbs's picture was put up and my father's test fluids were sent to Dr. Gibbs. So it is just, I'm so grateful to the foundation and what you've done for our family.
Thank you each so much. For those of you who were here Friday and heard Tessa Garcia McEwen talk about the 5 stages of grief, the 6th stage, as she said, is something called meaning making. You guys are breaking me up, okay? It's about taking what, thank you, Karen. We had the floating tissue box in the genetic group. Whoever spoke had to take the tissue box. It's about taking what we all have experienced, and not that you're glad it happened, but you're taking it and you're building something around yourself in terms of meaning. And that's why I invited this panel here, not to torture them and make them tell their stories, but to talk about that transformation into creating meaning. So Karen, you made the mistake of sitting near me, so you're next. Just talk a little about starting the Facebook group and your work on starting strides for CJD as well.
Okay. When we knew the path we were on, the CJD Foundation website page had a guest book. On my Facebook page, I friended a lot of people who were constantly on that guest book. I kind of made my own little group in case I wanted to reach out to them specifically. We could just have our own little private conversation. And what ended up happening is a group formed. I had no idea what I did. People started asking to join, and I had no idea what I was doing. I'm not a techie person. I don't know anything about social media. But as time progressed, we've needed to make some changes, make it a private group. We needed to have people ask a question to join the group because we don't want people not really affiliated to be a part of that. We tell our personal stories. It's not really for public access. So that's what we do. And I do want to encourage anybody and everybody to ask to join the page. If you do, just let me know you're here and we'll get you started right away. There is an opportunity, I do believe, to post anonymously, so you can ask questions anonymously. If there's any doctors, researchers that want to join, if there are questions that you can answer but you don't want to identify yourself, you can also respond anonymously or reach out to me personally, and I can get your answer or question there. I did want to find out, I did want to somehow pay the CJD Foundation back for all they did for our family. When the concept of the Strides for CJD came about, I didn't know what I could do. The first one here in Illinois was at the end of October. It was very cold, very rainy, a very small group. Somebody had taken some photos and just made some frames and everything, and it was great. After that one, I decided to ask CJD family members for photos, and we ended up making a huge memorial wall of all the faces of CJD. That was my little way of contributing. I'm not a fundraiser. I just don't have that personality. But others do, and that's what's so great about this. Everybody can contribute in some way, shape, or form.
And just before we move on, I want to say something about the CJD Family Facebook group. What appealed to me about it is so well moderated. And I'm not just saying that because Karen is sitting here, but
I paid you.
She paid me a little. But it's just, when you're in that safe space, we're always looking to send families to a safe landing and a safe space where they can get helpful information, not be sort of attacked with negative questions. And I think it's a really well-moderated site. And now it's moderated by the community that you've formed, so.
Yeah, it really is. Everybody helps, everybody contributes.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're a silent member, you're contributing. I really appreciate that. And thank you to everybody who is on the page and who does help, and especially with new members. They're scared. They don't know. And everybody's warm welcomes are truly, truly appreciated.
Yeah. It really is heart to heart, even though it's on Facebook. I know not everybody's a Facebook fan, but it's really a great soft landing place for families. So, Elizabeth, if you can tell us a little about Strides.
Sure. So I joined Strides in 2017 as a committee member. Karen was on the committee because Karen and Molly actually started the Chicago Strides. After my uncle passed, I wanted to be involved, learn, know other families, what they were going through. I wanted to make sure that the way we were feeling, everybody was feeling, what they knew about CJD. So we became members of the committee for Strides. It was very scary at first because, again, I'm not a fundraiser, just a Karen. So I was like, okay, what do I do? And Molly and Karen were very nice and just do what you can, come up with ideas. Let's plan something so everybody could be together. And I am a party planner. So I was like, okay, I can help in that area. I can help plan and make sure everything is organized for the day of. So thanks for the email about volunteering, because that's actually what got me to contact Molly, who was the captain at the time.
And a lot of love, a lot more detail goes into it than you've just shared. I know we're short on time, but there's a lot of food, a lot of crafts, a lot of prizes, and a lot of hugging and love. So thank you. Okay, and Tim.
Well, how my mission got started. I think it began with the first phone call that I made to the foundation, and Debbie answered the phone. I was a little bit scared, not knowing which way to turn or who to talk to, thinking that we were all alone in this. She reassured me that, there were people that I could talk to and that would be here to help me out. So within a few months, Debbie called me back and said, would you do me a favor? Your wife, Kay, had the RT quick test, which was one of the first ones that went through. Would you be willing to do an NPR piece for National Public Radio, an interview? Me being myself thinking I could never do this because but I said, I'll do it. So I did the NPR piece, and that was kind of the beginning of my mission. The next year, Debbie called me again. The pattern has started. She asked me if I would do a Make a Difference piece on NBC5, Channel 5 here in Chicago, called Make a Difference. Being in front of cameras and being up on television, I was a little bit scared, but I did it. So that was the biggest step as we were going forward. But part of the biggest thing that I think when I started in this mission, I was afraid that the group was so small that I wouldn't have anyone to talk to. So shortly after that NBC5 airing, we started a co-leaders or a leader support group for caregivers, and I ended up being one of the co-leaders. And I'm still doing it yet to this day. I get a lot out of it. I try to help people understand what their loved one is dealing with. And it's the support that, whoever is calling in knows that there's someone there that, can help answer some questions on next steps in their loved one's life. I also do one-on-one calls with some of these patients' families as well. So that's kind of been my mission, and I will continue doing it.
And amazingly, he still answers the phone when I call him. This was another one of those calls. So thank you so much, Tim. And Pat, you have a lot that you can tell us about. You participate in advocacy. You and your family fund a research grant, although I think your brother is the spearheader of the funding for that. You attend conference and strides regularly. So tell us about your mission.
It's a journey. And it all started here with coming to the conference, because it's here at the conference that I heard about the opportunities of taking that negative and turning it into a positive. So the first thing that I learned about was that I could participate in medical research. So I have been going to UCSF, to Dr. Geschwin's lab, and to Massachusetts General for years to try to help the research efforts. And that got me coming back to conferences and learning more. And I thought, just dip my toe in the water and let's do the advocacy, right? Can't be that scary. I'm nervous, but I know my story. And let's face it, our stories are very compelling. And I found that our stories are very impactful when we go to Capitol Hill. We meet with legislative assistants. They are focused on health policy. And when I tell my story and I use the information that the foundation gives me and trains me on beforehand, it gets easier when you do it. And Lori will tell you, you don't go alone. And that's really helpful. I've gone to Capitol Hill visits to the Senate offices with people who are here at the conference, my fellow folks from Illinois. And I enjoy going every year with Tom to see our senators and with Mike to see the representatives. And the camaraderie that it builds is amazing. But one of the best benefits of going on to Capitol Hill is that you develop a relationship with the people that you're meeting. After my younger brother joined me on one of the visits, and after we told our story, the legislative assistant told us to wait. And she went into the congressman's office, Bill Foster from Illinois, and she brought him out and made sure that he met with us 5 minutes, but it could hear what we were there to ask about. A year later, when my husband and I went to Congressman Foster's office, Kim ushered us into his office, and the congressman gave us a half hour of his undivided attention and asked excellent questions, and he is so supportive of our efforts. It's amazing the connections that you can make when you're on Capitol Hill. You never know where it's going to go, but you will be prepared. You will be with people. It is empowering to go and tell our story. I would really encourage you to think about it, and I hope I see you at Advocacy Day in March. We started out fundraising at Strides for CJD, and my older brother captained our team. But as we kept coming to more conferences, and because we have such a family history of CJD, we really wanted to focus our fundraising efforts on sponsoring a memorial grant. That's when my cousin and her husband joined us from California, and the Glavin grant became the Glavin Gallagher grant. And it is just energizing to work together as a family to raise money to support in honor of our loved ones. But the real heartfelt thing is coming here and meeting the researchers. You are amazing. Thank you for being an inspiration. It helps us keep going in our effort to fundraise, and our family receives updates, congressmen receive updates of all the amazing progress that you are making. Thank you.
Thank you to each of you. We have just a minute if there are any questions in the room. Anybody? No? Yes? No? Okay. So while Suzanne runs, okay. Let me just invite each of you, we have a couple minutes left, if you would like to say one last thing to those in the room.
I have a real quick thing here. There is a company out there, it's called Card for Causes. And you order holiday cards, whatever kind of cards you want to order. They donate 3% of the purchase, it might be the net purchase, I'm not sure, to the CJD Foundation. When I first found the Cards for Causes website, they didn't have the CJD Foundation on it. I asked them to add it, they did. The cards aren't cheap, they're not dollar store cards, they're very high quality. But if you do need to order any kind of business cards or holiday cards, keep them in mind. It's a small donation, but everything counts.
Thanks, Karen. Elizabeth?
I would invite everybody to join their local strides. It's very comforting to see everybody there for the same cause. At our walk, not everybody actually does the trail walk. People like to stay back and just speak to others. It's a great opportunity to get together and get to know families in your area.
And I suspect they're staying back for some of the food, too. There's a lot of good food at that event. Tim?
I guess what my message would be is don't be afraid to volunteer. Don't if you think that you don't have anything to offer, you certainly do. When I started in this journey, I didn't think I had anything to offer. And I think now what I've gone through and accomplished, any of you can do that. So don't hesitate. If there's an opportunity out there, try to take it.
Thanks, Tim. Pat, last word.
Oh, gosh. I would say keep coming to conference, keep learning, keep broadening your outlook on how we can make an impact, and add your voice and add your talents to our cause. We all come at this in our own way, in our own time, and it's a journey that we're on together.
Thank you so much. And thank you to this panel. I knew it took a lot to do this, and you did a great job. Thank you.